Hello, welcome to the Steam Release Podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne, and I'm Dewey Bear. Dwayne's my real name, but Dewey Bear. And joining me today is the very blue LolliPop. Welcome.
Hey.
You got like ice, like it's an ice theme today.
It snowed.
It snowed.
Today.
Oh. Yeah. I wish it snowed more down in Texas, because I do. That is one thing I miss. I don't like cold. I don't like winter, but I do really miss snow.
The occasional, since I'm in Austin, I don't know, it snowed not too long ago, and I was so excited. I mean, I didn't really do anything in it, but it was like, it looks pretty.
And of
course,
course,
warm up now.
It lasted for like an hour, and it was like, ooh, it's all right, and then it just disappeared.
It was magical for a moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all that matters.
And, of course, the handsome fella you see there, he is Chris Clever, now known as sirClever, I think.
That's right.
Yes, sirClever. Welcome. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. We have a lot of cool games to talk about, but before we do that, we gotta just find out, what have you been up to? What have you been playing? So, first off, Rhodey, are you ready?
I am ready, yes.
Okay, let us know what you've been playing this week.
So, I've mainly been playing Wattam, Wattam.
I think I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is.
So, there is a main story through this, as you have to try and get all the items back, and it unlocks more items and more items and more items. And there's I don't want to spoil it, but there is you're trying to basically get everybody back together again in harmony. So yeah, that's what you're trying to do.
It seems like a mushroom trip to me.
It really is.
It looks very trippy.
It's so kind of sort of like a nice harmonious game. However, it is so buggy. It is the same people that did Katamari, yeah.
Okay, cool.
People.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's so buggy, because you climb up stuff and sometimes that doesn't work very well, and it's just, because of that, it makes it so frustrating. But still, I have enjoyed it, and now I'm just I've played through the main story, and you can just continue playing on and on. I'm now just trying to get the achievements. I just have 6 more achievements to get.
Oh man, that's always a good feeling. I think I've only ever gotten 100% achievements on one game on Steam, and I have 800 games. Wow. So that's always when I see it's close, I'm like, maybe I can get there and add the second, and then that usually it doesn't end up happening because it's something ridiculous. But that's awesome. I really like the artwork.
I have 56 perfect games.
Oh my goodness. So I know I said I wanted to do this podcast, but now you guys are just showing me up.
Don't worry. I don't think I've gotten perfect on any games. So
sweet.
I don't think I'm
100% better than you. Then no, I'm kidding.
I don't think I've 100% a single game. I've gotten close, and particularly with but my problem is I like roguelikes.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Those feel. I mean, they're already never ending anyway, but also they add such ridiculous achievements that are impossible. It's you have to be an expert. You have to be Cobalt Streak and play Binding of Isaac for 10,000 hours in order to get these. It's oh, okay, well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and by the end of it, you can get a degree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, that's all the games I've played this week. But I would like to say that, because I haven't said yet, but 2020, I completed 56 games. 56 games. So I now have 733 games, and I've completed a total of 268 games. So I am getting through the list. Through the list of games.
So that's you're awesome. About a third of the way through then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So let me see. This has been a journey of what? 2 or 3 years?
I'm gonna say I want to say 2.5 years maybe, and yeah, it's slow going, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
Only 5 more years then.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Not to be depressing or anything, but
yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's something to be proud of for sure, because I think most Steam users probably can't say the same for even a small percentage of that. That's not. I just play and then game jump. That's what I do.
Yeah, and it was kind of getting me down, because it's like I'm spending this money, and I kind of, when I buy something, I kind of want to get my money's worth out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like I felt really bad that I can't. It's like I start a game, I kind of want to know how it finishes, but not having the motivation to finish it, and so that's why I did streaming, or I did Twitch, and it was like really helpful, because especially when if it's particularly wordy and I'm reading it and I'm dyslexic, I get the people on the channel to help me with it, so it's nice.
And streaming kind of makes, when certain games even become a bit of a chore, I found that streaming, just like having people there, just like, okay, can you suffer with me, please? And it makes it so much easier. That's how I get through every rhythm game.
Too.
Yeah.
It holds you accountable, because people are like, "Oh, when are you going to beat that game?" And you're like, "You know what? I'll schedule it this Saturday. I'll make sure we get through it. I'll put it somewhere in there." People are still holding me accountable for not finishing the first Dark Souls, even though I've tried to do it for like 2 years. So when I come back, I'm like, I know I'm going to have to do a stream for that, because people are going to be like, "Where the hell is the Dark Souls?" All right. I'm so close, dude. I'm so close to the end of that game, and I'm like, for some reason, just stopped right before I finished. And it's like,
yeah,
we'll see.
All right, Chris, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
So I've been pretty heavy, at least lately, on Oxygen Not Included. I think that's a game that I picked up a long time ago and never really touched. So it's kind of one of those games where I felt guilty for buying it and then never playing it. But I used to watch Cult Diggity play it a lot on stream, and I never understood a freaking one thing that he did in that game, because it's so confusing. But now that I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, I do remember him talking about this, or I remember that, or whatever. So that's been a pretty big addiction lately, just trying to get my little duplicants as far as they can, surviving. It's from the same makers as Don't Starve. Mm-hmm. If you like that game, you'll probably like this one, but this is also like heavy resource management, like micromanaging, and it does get tedious after a while, so you have to find ways to make the game interesting later on in the game. But it's good. It's a lot of fun. Your little dupes can get sick. You have to take care of their food, make sure they have enough, materials to do things, and use the bathroom. And as you can see in that preview, that's like there's pipes going and germs, and it gets really hectic. But it's great. The animation is amazing. Like obviously, like what is it, Clay Studios or Clay Software that does the animation for this and Don't Starve, and the way that the characters are animated is great throughout the whole thing. That, and did a little Hades. Definitely big on Hades. I don't know if you guys have played it. I'm sure you've seen it. It's same people who did Bastion and Transistor and all that stuff, but it's a roguelike, which is the best, and it's already a great genre, but they did it well, and so I now own it on my Switch and on my PC. I just kind of go back and forth.
Really into this. It's like it's the only game that he's picked up for like a year. So yeah.
It's just really solid. So I don't know, I picked it up and I was like, oh, this is just going to be like Transistor or the other ones, and it's like, no, it's definitely its own thing, and I love the Greek mythology behind it and all that, so it's good. Those are probably the two biggest ones that I've been hitting.
Now, I do have one more question for you, since it is January, and I kind of want to ask all of our guests that we haven't had on yet in January, what are you really looking forward to with the releases in 2021?
So I haven't had a lot of time to really think about this, just because I've had my head in games for a while, but like, I remember there being a game called Gears of Eden, which I talked to Ogre about, and it's still ETA unknown, but assumed 2021, so I don't know if it's actually coming out in 2021, but it is something to look out for and put on your wish list. If you like material grabbing things, it's like a little sentient robot. You have to control them and do the things, on different planets. It's supposed to be a little more, I guess, material grabbing, but also gathering, but like it feels a little more casual than a lot of games where it feels, it doesn't feel quite as intense. But it looks pretty good so far. I was looking forward to Disjunction, which is actually coming out, I think, on the 28th of January. If people were disappointed in Cyberpunk or just want a Cyberpunk style game, that's one that I've been watching for a while. It's like action RPG but stealth, which I love because I'm a huge fan of like Stealth Bastard, which I think they changed the name of that, but Stealth Bastard and Metal Gear Solid and all those things like that, where all it is espionage and kind of moving around the city and stuff, and it just looks cool. It looks like a cool little pixel game that you can kind of pick up, and I don't know how long the story is, but I know you played 3 different characters and kind of move through it. So, and then I'll mention 2 others that are big on my list. Death Trash, that's another one, kind of similar in that it's like indie. I think it's like 1 or 2 guys. I'm not sure. I think it's a very, very, very small team, and this is one that I've seen like just around. It's been on Twitter for a while where he's kind of posted. It started with screenshots and then it went to little videos of mechanics and then it kind of, so I've followed it for about a year. I follow the Death Trash Twitter, and it's just really cool seeing kind of how they've implemented things over time. You get to kind of see the live development of it, but it seems to be very story driven and like post-apocalyptic. And so if you like things like Fallout, like 1 and 2, like the original Fallouts before Fallout 3 came out, this seems to be kind of in the same vein as that. And then to go on more of a cute side, I found this developer on Twitter as well. They did To the Rescue, which is, it's like a dog shelter simulator. And this one I'm like super excited about because it's super cute and it's like very like Tamagotchi style. You know, you just kind of have to take care of the shelter and stuff. And once again, I saw them start with pictures and like little visual images or videos of the implementation of the mechanics, and then over time they started saying, hey, we now added the leash mechanic and you can go out and walk the dogs, and I'm like, oh my god, this is adorable. And it just seems really wholesome. And I think that sometimes, you know, especially me talking about cyberpunk and dystopian realities, it's like sometimes you kind of need this type of game in your life. So I believe it is 2021 that's listed on the Steam page, so that should come out at some point in this summer. But yeah, it's that one I'm probably the most excited about, to be honest, because it's just really good.
This is why I want to ask this question, because like the game Disjunction looks aesthetically like right up my alley, and I've never heard of it. It's just like, so cool.
It's coming out in like 3 or 4 days, dude. Nice. I mean, I don't know how it plays yet. I didn't get into beta or anything, but it just popped out of nowhere on my feed one day, and I was like, this looks kind of neat. Like, okay. I love little stealth games, but also to kind of implement it into cyberpunk culture is like, just right now especially, it's like they hit it out of the park. So
I had a look, and yeah, I do have this on my wish list.
Do you? Yeah, it's so cute. The little old granny with taking the dog out, like adopting the dog. I'm just like, this is the best. I want to give grannies dogs. Yeah, that one's one that's been really wholesome, and there's some, I don't recall her name. I'm so bad with names and developer names, I just forget. But I follow the artist, the girl who does all the artwork in To the Rescue, and I think that's how I initially found the game. Was like, she's like, yeah, I'm a video game artist, and here's some of the stuff I did, and I was like, this is adorable.
Yeah. To the Rescue, that is so cute. My word. Yeah. This looks great. Oh my gosh. So yeah, thank you so much. That's yeah. I'm very glad that I decided to ask folks that. So we're definitely going to be asking our guest host next week too, because
you should just do it throughout the whole year. Like December, what are you looking forward in 2021? Like,
what's going on?
I'm looking forward to all the games that said like ETA 2021 that are now pushed to 2022. You know, because that's probably going to happen. But you know,
be a lot of them. Anyhow, so we were here to talk about games. But before we get to this week of releases, we have some catch-up stuff to do, because we still do have games from back last year during the hiatus that we didn't get to talk about yet. And so this week we are going to be doing the catch-up for May 22nd through May 28th. And starting off, we have a free game called Way to Yaatra.
Okay. Mine's slowing. Get aboard on a thrilling voyage in search of truth after the desolation of your village. Using spears, climb a huge mountain while you walk the way of Yaatra.
This is a little free game made by just a small indie group in Madrid, Spain. I suspect it's a student game, considering it's free, and I don't see any form of monetization going on. So, but yeah, it just looks like a neat, aesthetically unique platformer.
I like stuff like this, especially when you know that. I mean, for me, I'm trying to learn how to code right now, and a lot of that is I'm gonna come up with little projects that I'll probably put out there as like, hey, you can play this. I don't expect money. I just am learning, and I can see a lot of the mechanics of this where the character's like shooting off somewhere, and then it kind of warps them to that space. And imagine somebody trying to code that for the first time and not knowing how and actually getting it. It's like this, yes, I did it! Like, you know, that kind of moment. So it's like, I love stuff like that when you can see little indie games like achieve that.
It's so nice. It looks so nice, and I am wondering how long it is. But even if it's like a short experience, it's free. So you know, that's quite, and it looks so nice.
Yeah,
it looks really good. The aesthetic on it is great. I really like this style of game. Anything like small little pixel art, very very like colorful palette, but you know, I like the way that it changed to the shadows there, almost like kind of like Limbo or something.
Yeah, if the whole game was like the shadow thing, I wouldn't be so keen. But with it being kind of the contrast between that and the pretty colorful environments, it's a cool way to set a mood if you want. Okay, I want a particular mood on this level, and so it's like, let's do the Limbo thing. That's really nice because like, you know, games like Limbo or games like Badlands.
I thought you were going to say Inside. I thought Inside was one too that was similar to that.
No, Inside's 3D. It has the same mood as it has the same mood, but it's 3D and it's not the same. But Inside, that's a weird game. You should play it.
I haven't. I've only seen like screenshots of it. So.
That it does not end the way you expect. Let's just say that. But yeah, so Way of Yaatra, it's free. Check it out, guys. Our next title is Red Planet Farming.
Become the first agricultural director of Mars in Red Planet Farming. This casual strategy game tasks players with producing enough food to feed a growing population of settlers on the Red Planet. Oh, I can see this is right up Chris's.
I like it. I like stuff like this where it's like, whether it's casual or strategy or whatever, it's a lot of the micromanaging stuff I think I've gotten into more over the years. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of the game now. I'll think about it. But yeah, it's games like this are kind of right up my alley for more casual play when I'm, you know, when things are slow at work because I work from home and it's like, oh, I can just take a lunch break and just kind of goof around.
That's something that, you know, I like about roguelikes is that, you know, I also work from home because my main office is actually now closed permanently, so we're all
interesting.
We're all remote forever. But I guess, so with a roguelike, you can just do a run until I die, and that's typically going to be within my break. So
that's great.
It's so convenient. So yeah, I could see how this is also like something that would be.
They're saying that this doesn't really. Someone's saying that this doesn't really have like very much in common with the farm sim exactly. It's a puzzle in which each stage has a limited established set of paths that you make that can make you win. You reset the puzzle by restarting and going through the stage again, figuring which crops to plant in order to beat the pseudo-random events attached to each stage.
So it's like learn by failing, I guess. Trying to learn. Yeah, that's actually cool though. I like that.
So it's not necessarily a farming sim. It's more of a puzzle game. Okay.
This is kind of neat aesthetic though. I like that it looks like that. It's kind of I don't know, just neat.
This is developed by 3 devs, programmer Nina Demirjian, musicians Sean Porio and Sean Park, who I think did the art. So, yep.
Okay.
It's nice. It looks very nice. It looks very cohesive. I like it.
Yeah. It's got that it's very readable. The UI feels like it fits, because that I think is the number one thing where indie games that don't make this list it's usually what fails it is bad UI. And I'm just like, ugh, the game might be pretty, but if the UI is ugly, it just ruins it.
Yeah, you're just using like font 18 size Arial or something, and I'm like, ew, and you don't even have a background behind that. It's like, why don't you make a help?
And there's no undershading behind the letters.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's like, oh, I agree with you. I think especially with like mobile games, sometimes I'll download random mobile games and like, oh, I'll try this out, whatever, and see what it is, just to kind of waste the time. And that happens a lot where you'll download a game and it's like, I want to support you. This game's kind of good, but it looks terrible in the graphical interface, so you kind of end up hating it.
Yeah. And this little team nailed it.
Yeah, they did a great job. I like that it's very concise and just kind of, it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming at all, which is good.
Yeah, it's starting out very positive with 96% positive, with 377 reviews.
Nice, that's awesome.
And it is also free, so I feel like this is a portfolio game probably. So go check it out and give them feedback. All right. Our next title is something that's a bit more well-known this year is Wildfire, which released on May 25th.
Master the elements in this stealth game where everything burns. Use your elemental powers to start fires, freeze water, and move earth as you outsmart superstitious enemies in this mischievous 2D stealth game.
You look like Batman. When he was like crawling on the rafters or whatever, I'm just like, it's Batman. I love the parallax background. That really impresses me when people do that. I know it's not that hard of an effect to achieve, but there are a lot of indie games, like especially 2D platformers, that don't really use that effect or don't really put a lot of effort in the background. It's always like, it can be tiles or it can be whatever. But when I see it well done like that, where it's like, 5 or 6 layers back and each move at a different speed, it definitely brings out that like 3D kind of quality of your game.
You forget you're playing a 2D game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really nice.
It also adds to the, obviously the thematic things that are, the game's trying to bring, the visuals, but just the feeling of it. If you're trying to get somebody to feel something, in the woods and it's scary, well, you can use like those dark trees and green tint and, that's really cool.
Yeah, the backgrounds are beautiful, and I do like the look of the character. I definitely not sure about the enemies, but I don't know. It still looks like it works. It looks like it works. But
yeah, it looks like a pretty neat game.
Yeah. This one's been on my wish list for quite a while, and now that it had come out several months ago, I still haven't picked it up, but I will get to it eventually.
I like I just saw the mechanic of like throwing things, or I don't know if he's shooting arrows or what, but it pulls up that like line. I like that. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And there's a demo as well, so it's like you can try it out to see if it's.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is always nice, because especially with games like this, you just don't necessarily know how good it's gonna feel until you actually try it out. So having that demo, it's great pick there. Good job.
And it's £11.39, and it's starting at 84% positive with 185 reviews.
And that is $14.99 USD. And this is developed by the team Sneaky Bastards, who are so sneaky they do not tell me like where their website is or where they're located, so I can't give you any more information.
It says this game is you can play with a friend as well, so you can play co-op.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes it way better. I mean, don't get me wrong, single player games are great, but like when you have a game like that, that's especially like that kind of indie pixelated style, and you can jump around with friends, it's good.
It's only shared split screen.
Oh, I see.
I think you can do remote play together, but with internet that can be kind of iffy. But yeah, it's a hope. With these, I'm always like, please eventually do an online game patch. I know right? Netcode is something that's really easy for AAA studios to do because it's not that expensive, but it's really hard for indie developers to do because Netcode is super boring. You're not like designing anything like, it's like where like game design and art, etc., is all stuff that you can experience and see very easily. Whereas netcode, it's just like it's you do this thing and it works, and if when it doesn't work, everyone notices. But when it does work, no one notices. It's just like, oh, it's working fine. Just go along with it.
I've seen a lot of people have like struggle with that. Even like Risk of Rain back when it was made with Game Maker 1, and the game is great, but people had trouble connecting through different IPs and lag and stuff. And I mean, it's fine now. I think they've obviously patched it along the way since it was released. But man, I can't put myself in their shoes and imagine like how much of a struggle that must be to be like, here's this game and it's great, and then everyone's like, this sucks because my friend lagged to the other side of the level, and you're like, okay, I guess we'll try to figure it out. Like, you have to really, netcode is probably the single most important thing for any sort of online gaming.
Mm-hmm. It's super important, but it's just super boring, and you have to and so you have to pay really well for it to do it. Whereas, because it's just a skill that's really valuable, and it's just it's not super exciting. So not a lot of people get into that field.
Yeah.
All right. Our next title is, let me see if I can do this French properly, Depanneur Nocturne, I guess.
A short exploration game about poking around a convenience store and finding a gift with the help of its owner. But sometimes the perfect gift finds you. I like this because
the perfect gift finds you. Is it like a monster?
I don't know. It says it's an adventure noir first person.
Or maybe. Well, it says with the help of its owner. So maybe I'm thinking it's like I'm hoping it's like a nice thing. It's a nice thing where like in Harry Potter where the wand finds you. Sort of thing. I feel it's like that.
It looked like it almost had like I mean, you're still moving around, so it's not quite point and click, but it reminded me of like Myst or something, where they're clicking and all the little levers and puzzles and things they were just doing. Maybe it's just like kind of a little mystery.
I think so. Yeah. Now that I like stuff like that. I like to these little exploration.
It's got an aesthetic that really reminds me of Assemble with Care.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, nice sort of pastel colors. It's quite nice.
The pastels contrasted with some rich, deep color here and there. Yeah. It's very nice.
Games like that are also good for pushing out like a narrative, a good story too. Because I know there's a lot of those games that take place in one location or in one little area, and that's the whole game. And on the surface, you might look at it and go, that seems boring. But when you play it, it's like the story and the dialogue and things go through, I don't know if that's what that game is about. I'm just saying that's what it looks like it could be.
They say its estimated completion time is 1 to 2 hours. Okay. And it's fully bilingual, English and French, with a Quebec twist. So I assume it's Quebec French.
I like this. Collect as many or as few gifts as your heart desires. Budget is no concern when it comes to your love. I love that.
And this is
at 100% positive.
Ooh.
Right. With 112 reviews.
That is impressive. And with being only 2 hours on, it is $4.99 USD, so not an unfair price.
Yeah, $3.99 here.
This is developed by Co-op, which is a studio based out of Montreal, Quebec. They also have an upcoming game called Goodbye Volcano High, which was featured on
like a really good name for a game.
Yeah, it's like I think it's a visual novel, but with
that sounds like what it would be
with prehistoric dinosaurs. So, but yeah, so that's the same studio. All right. Our next title is House Sitter.
Explore the wacky world of House Sitter and discover what secrets lie in wait. Meet new friends, choose their fate, uncover who you truly are. But most importantly, get those chores done before Mum comes back.
This is very Rick and Morty looking.
Oh my god.
Oh man, these trippy ass games, man. I don't know. The lasagna had a face on it. Yeah. Oh, that's so weird.
Oh my god.
Oh wow!
Apparently,
they even curse at you.
Yeah.
Wow, this is a mess. This seems like a very like South Park 64 type of game to me.
I guess
I don't know if you ever played that on the N64. It was very awkward, but like just there to, it has random things to do, but it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna get yelled at by my refrigerator today.
There are like multiple secret endings based on the choices you make, and it says finish 40 different extra errands that save across different playthroughs. Okay.
Oh man. Seems like it could be funny. It looks like there's a lot of comedic value in that, and I think that would be a good time.
Guess the refrigerator and the oven are in a relationship, and she's cheating. Oh my gosh!
I like how Linus the computer looks like he's drugged out. That's great.
He's gotten so many viruses.
Yeah, he's got pop-ups like malware.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Oh my word! Yeah, this looks really fun. Mature content description, explicit language, and sexual themes. So
I would assume so.
Your appliances are getting randy. But yeah,
it looks like it's like under an hour. I suppose if you're doing like one playthrough, it's about 30 minutes or something. But obviously, if you want to get all the secret endings, then it's going to take a few. So
yeah. So in that light, $4.99 is a steal. $4.99 US.
Wonder if anybody speed runs it.
$3.99 UK, and it stands at 94% positive with 18 users reviews.
And this is a solo dev project developed by Eric Steinberg.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yep, it's his first game on Steam. All right. Well, his first solo game. He could have done stuff with the studio, but yes. All right. Our next title is LolliPop, the best indie game apparently.
Yeah, LolliPop, the best indie game, the best that could have been made by two indie developers that having no development experience, no time, no money, and or the desire to work and claws instead of hands.
I love that it just said it presents the title screen, which we had to work on for 2 weeks, and it just pops up all animated as heck. That's great.
Their website's pretty funny too. I looked at the website.
That's a really good way to sell and market your game, whether you're a beginner or like someone. It's humor to me. If you can do it right, it's a selling point, no matter how terrible the game is.
So you're just like a pile of pink poop, or I guess taffy, maybe?
I guess.
It kind of looks like a poop to me, but
I guess
poop
so.
with rainbows, a rainbow shadow.
Can you go scroll back down on the about game? I think it said graphics from 2003 is what it says.
Yeah, graphics from 2003. Yeah. A rainbow behind the protagonist.
Banal story. Oh man, boring gameplay. I love it.
Coins.
I like that they're very tongue-in-cheek about it and they're not taking it seriously at all, which is, that would make me sit down and be like, this is great.
I like the awards. Best trite story ever. Another one game with a discount on Steam I'm never gonna play. The best choice for money back. The best game I've never played in my life. I accidentally click on the buy button. 9 out of 10.
That's fantastic. So, but yeah, it's this is by My Pocket Games, which just a small studio too, and 6 years. They spent 6 years developing the game apparently.
Really?
Yep. Initially, we planned to make a first-person strategy with AI. Fortunately, we changed our mind, decided to do a one-pixel platformer with some trivial plot about candies. Oh my word! So they're like,
it's so
this is too hard.
Self-deprecating, and I think that's if that can be done right, it's such a good way of or a good sense of humor to just make fun of your own thing.
I think that's a long time though for this kind of game. I feel I know if like your first time But you can also get into your own head about spending too much on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like going over and over sort of like the same things and trying to. I know you're trying to make it as best you can, but there was another example of that kind of game. There was a guy who spent like 7 years on it.
Stardew
It was
Valley?
that kind of Android. There was this like little robots, and I can't remember what the name of it was, but yeah, and he spent 7 years on the game, and it was just not. It just wasn't quite there still.
Well, sometimes what I was going to say was sometimes it comes down to it might have taken 6 years because maybe they have day jobs and they only work on the weekends on this. Because I know who was it? The guy who did Gunpoint. I think I've read stories about Stardew Valley doing the same thing. It's like, he had to take weekends and just cram as much of that developing time in as possible. So 6 years to us seems like a lot. But I can think about what I was doing 6 years ago, and if I had started a game back then, I probably would get it done around now. And it may not be the best because I have a 40-hour week job and girlfriends along the way and like all kinds of stuff going on, and
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
so it very easily could just be life,
Yeah, it's life. It is at 86% positive with 15 users. 15 reviews. And it's £2.9.
Yep, $2.99 US. Very humbly priced. All right. Our next title is Resolution with 2 eyes for some reason because they want to be different.
Oops.
I have 2 eyes. I'll leave.
An old killer escorts a curious AI through chaotic combat, puzzling secrets, and unsettling calm. Explore a fractured future, collecting weird weapons and stories to piece together the past.
This has got some style to it.
I love it, dude. A lot of these games came out in the last few years that kind of look in this style a little bit, and it's always kind of minimalist, but also cluttered almost. Like I say cluttered as in like the environment. There's all kinds of details in it and stuff, and it just feels very filled.
Damn. Yeah, I'm a real sucker for this kind of look that has been like, so there's
Hyperlight Drifter.
Yeah, Hyperlight Drifter.
That's what I was thinking
Astra. Astra. There's just kind of been several that it looks so good.
I love it when you can also take a color and focus on it pretty heavily. Like if it's like simulated light, I think, where you have everything blue or everything red and it's like bright red and crazy, but it's like if you're watching it, it works. It just seems like it fits. That's all orange and dark and whatever. And since it's a 2D game, a lot of times they don't have light sources like a 3D game would, so you actually have to go in and make the palette work for you, and that's a lot of effort to get the style to be all on an even keel throughout the entire level or whatever you're doing. So it's pretty impressive when you can pull off the style and it doesn't just like a plain old bunch of tiles or gray. It's a gray floor, with a path, I guess, and it's like, oh, okay.
It's and just them taking just a color and it's hard. And you've put it to words so much better. I've been trying to think what to say about it, but it's just so beautiful. The way they've been able to use modern technology to go back and do the old pixel art and just kind of update it to the new. Because you would have never seen pixel art games like this back in the 90s or 2000s. They didn't look like this, and this is all sort of an evolution of art and an evolution of what you can do.
It also comes down to technology too, because like the SNES, the Genesis, NES, all that stuff was limited on its color palette. You couldn't use millions of colors like you can now. Same with memory. You had to reuse the same sprites and recolor them like the original Mortal Kombat, And it's like they had to do that because otherwise it would crash or it wouldn't run. And it's like now you kind of have this whole, big canvas to work with, and you can pretty much do anything you want. Within certain limits, but the limits are way, way higher.
Yeah,
you probably will never hit them.
Yeah, especially if you're doing pixel art. If you're doing pixel art, you've got all the leeway you want to basically go wild. So it's so great. All right, but yeah, this is 1999 US and developed by Monolith of Minds.
And there's 16 hours playtime, according to this, and it's £15.49 as well, and there's 59 user reviews, and it stands at 79% positive.
And it seems you can buy it in a bundle with the Pixel Art Masterclass. You can buy it in a bundle with Crosscode. Another excellent game, by the way.
Nice.
I watched Lars play that for a bit, and he'd sit in Discord and stream it, and I'm like, oh, this is intense. I like it.
Crosscode's great. I'm just stuck at a point because I'm just not that good. I need to basically grind. I could beat the level, but it's like, okay, I just need to grind up higher stats, and then I can come back and beat this. Because my reaction time is just too low. Anyhow. Our next title is Rhythm Fighter.
This is a rogue-like horizontal action game that players need to follow the beat to defeat opponents. Beat to follow, fist to the bone, face the foe, and dance to kill.
Dance to kill.
You just dance? That's interesting.
So on one end, it's roguelike, which is, right up my alley. On the other end, it's rhythm, and I don't have any rhythm.
Yeah, I have Crypt of the Necro Dancer, and I've played it a lot, and I've never like gotten very far in it because I'm just like, all right, I can't keep up with this. I'm just very bad with like rhythm games. I play guitar, and I can keep a BPM and like a metronome in my head for everything else except video games. I'm like I can't hit the button right.
Yeah, there's another rhythm game that I actually finished, Agent Klutz. And basically, in order to get past it, I had to do this whole thing with my head, like right now, and just synchronize my head with my mouse as I'm doing it. So, oh my word!
I love that like comic book style artwork almost. I don't know what you would call it. I guess it's very cartoony, but
cel shaded.
Pretty neat. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's cel shaded. I can't really tell, but yeah, it's good.
It gives a suggestion of being cel shaded, basically.
So it says, someone said, multiple characters with fun abilities, bumping music, roguelike map layout with incentive for speed, able to use your own music and stages, unlocked progression as you play. Chef Chonk Cat is best cat. But next is art, story is meh, and control scheme takes a little getting used to. And doesn't seem to read Pro Controller triggers.
It's weird. So the you know what I was thinking about a second ago? Seeing some of the characters reminds me of like Awesome Knots. I don't know if you ever played that or saw it. I mean, it was kind of like a 2D MOBA, but like that when it does like the frames and stuff, and it's like zooming in on them, it feels very Awesome Knots like.
You fight daikon radishes. This is great. Unfortunately, I have no sense of rhythm, but I would like to play it. Oh, man.
I mean, there's a free demo, so if anyone's interested, you can always download it, give it a go.
Sweet.
And this is by Echo Games, and is their first game on Steam. Yeah, it looks fun. Rhythm game.
It's £11.39, and there are 354 user reviews, and that's standing at 82% positive.
Which is pretty good for the rhythm games. Like, there's certain genres that they're almost never gonna get 100% because, like, it's a genre with like 2 or 3 camps in it, and so there's always gonna be some people like, this is shit, and then others like, I love this. Yeah. So,
I've seen that in the roguelike community a bit, where people are just like, well, this is a roguelike, but it's not my perfect idea of a roguelike. And it's like, what is that? Why can you leave a review based on that? Go make a game if you want to do that, you know?
It's just like first-person shooters. You're never going to see a first-person shooter or a real-time strategy game with a 100%. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen.
There's always going to be that guy that doesn't feel like StarCraft, though.
Exactly.
Thanks for 0. I appreciate it.
Yes. And howdy, Kavika, in the chat. You're acknowledged. All right, so our release list. We're gonna get to this week's releases if I can remember. There we go. There's the panel that I want. Alrighty, and of course, first we're going to start off on Sunday, January 7th, with Whisperwind.
Whisperwind is a short psychological horror experience featuring puzzles, multiple endings, creepy ambience, and deep storytelling.
So this has that sort of like CRT filter going on. It sort of reminds me of
scan lines and stuff.
Yeah, scan lines, and it does give for like a sort of retro ambiance to it.
I could see that being creepy, especially in the dark where you have like hints of light coming in on objects.
There's a lot of people using that now, aren't there?
Yeah,
we've seen quite a few.
A short hike,
especially. There was also a few.
They must spell mystery. No.
horror adventure games that we saw that were using it as well.
Yeah. Is it? And I've never used Unity, but I was going to say, is it like a Unity filter or something, or a pre-made thing you can add, or is it, because I know a lot of people in Game Maker Studio did that with the like when you watch games like Nuclear Throne and you shoot a guy and it has the screen shake, the 2D screen shake. Apparently that was like a function or something you could do in Game Maker Studio, and so many games coming out of Game Maker Studio at that time had that, and it was like, okay guys, it's fun, but it also gets so annoying after a while when it's in every single indie game coming out.
Yeah.
I just wondered if maybe, I mean, that's not to insult them, the game looks okay, but I was like, some people do add those last minute touches and it's more like a kind of a generic thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing, when you start seeing a trend and it's like, oh, did you really have to add that?
Yeah.
I feel like without it, it would actually look more generic somehow, though.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
think
like polygons and stuff being just plain.
Yeah, just plain polygons. I think with the filter over it, it gives it a more kind of weirdly organic look.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they did it, is like at the end they're like, this still doesn't look right. Voila. I feel like it is probably a function.
Animation to it might add animation to like still imagery too. If you're walking through a room and everything's very still, that gives you a sense of like unease, like because things are moving. You're like, did I just see something, or is that the damn scan lines again? I could see how that could be effective in like scaring people if that's what their goal is.
Yeah. And it just looks like it fits, so I'm definitely not going to knock them even if it's just a throw-on filter.
That I do have to say, like, just to clarify, that's not a knock if they're using a generic filter, because I mean I do that in Photoshop. I'm not ashamed of that.
No.
But it's more just a question of like, is it something they added because of that, or was it of trying to be effective? Was it something they came up with on their own to try to make it scarier?
And
It looks like it's around 3.5 to 5 hours. So it's at $3.99, so it's not badly priced. So unfortunately, there's only 7 reviews up at the moment, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
And this, I believe, is
I will say that like the thing about when we talk about how something feels generic or something like that, or kind of just like quickly thrown together, I don't think that's what that is. Obviously, it seems like they worked on it. But when I go back and think about like the Slender Man games, like the first Slender that ever came out was just made in Unity, and it was just a simple in the forest and this guy's hunting you and you don't know where he is and you're trying to collect papers. And I remember how viral that went, but also just how terrifying it was. It was like, this is such a silly, not very well made game. But that can be effective for horror, especially me being a horror movie fan. I've got horror movie posters everywhere. It's like, if you can pull me into that ambience and that eerie feeling, then I don't care that you have, some sort of generic feel to it. It just needs to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, completely.
That's way more important is the mechanics of the game than.
Yeah, it's getting all the pieces in place, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And this is developed by solo dev Luis Felipe Amaro, and he has been updating it. The latest update added Portuguese language support. So yeah, that was on the 21st, which was Thursday. Yes. So
nice.
Cool.
I'm actually going to add that to my list.
Alrighty. It does look.
It could
does
be
look
like
really
a heart rate monitor stream someday.
Yeah, I love those streams of yours. It's the only reason I would ever know what happens in most horror games. Is like watching your stuff.
I haven't done the heart rate monitor in a while, but I plan to bring it back in a very like incorporated in the layout, so that way it's just always on, and that way even if I'm playing games that aren't horror, at least people can kind of see.
We can watch you play League of Legends. just. Oh no, he's tilted. Look at his heart rate. Oh right. So after that, we have Monday, January 18th, Frame of Mind.
In Frame of Mind, you are placed in a world where logic is escaping you. Each area of the game defies reason, requiring you to think outside the box in order to solve the illogical and escape madness.
This is by bracket sample text close bracket studios. They are, yeah, and it's a free game too. So they are brand new.
That looks pretty neat. I like the style of it. It almost looks like a paint by numbers thing.
Yeah, I really like the look of this, and it's.
I wonder if it was hand drawn or if it was digitally drawn. I can't really tell by the textures, but
it reminds me of the Stanley Parable.
Yes, that's actually what I was thinking about when I first saw it.
Yeah.
And they are a small team from Auckland, New Zealand.
But they said it's like about 30 minutes, and there's 15 plus reality-defying puzzles. So yeah, it's a nice short experience. So, and it's free to play, which is nice. And it's sorry.
I was gonna say, to me, stuff like this feels like an escape room type of experience, which you can definitely get from video games like this, where it's like it might be a 30-minute game, but it could also be really like positive and a good experience overall. So it's, even if it's 30 minutes, sometimes I find those games like Stanley Parable is one you brought up, and that was one of those like life-changing games I played where the narrative was so good, and I was just it was almost existential crisis afterwards. Where it's like, what, this is insane, and I will never forget that game, even though it was a very short playthrough.
Yeah, completely. This is this has 134 user reviews, and it's 98% positive.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, escape room type games, I have to say, having done real world escape rooms, which I feel like escape rooms in the real world kind of became a cultural thing after video games, unless I just didn't get involved in them the early scene.
You're right.
Yeah.
They came like down the way, and I don't know who came up with them, but it's like it got popular somewhere, and
let's make video games in the real world.
Yeah.
And then what's funny is then you have escape room games back on the PC, and honestly it's a pretty similar experience. There's some really good multiplayer escape room games that I've played, and it's like, oh, this feels almost like we're there. It's great. Oh, right. So yeah, that is Frame of Mind.
Just like to say, the SMU Guildhall, they bought out 3 games this week.
Yep, they did, and those games are, let me sort them by release date. All right, those 3 games that came out this week are Trikaya, Puzzle Box Palace, and Space Smack.
And they're, of course, free if you'd like to try them.
Yep. Trikaya is a casual puzzle exploration game. Puzzle Box Palace, whoops, hitting the wrong one. Puzzle Box Palace is a adventure puzzle game. Looks inside a museum with a bunch of gears and such. That's cool. And of course, Space Smack looks to be a casual kind of party game. So, yeah. Right, so that is the SMU Guildhall, our favorite educational institution that regularly supplies us with free games. So, Tuesday, January 19th, we have the game Rorschach.
Rorschach is a precise experimental puzzle platformer where you use paint to reveal your surroundings.
Ooh,
It's a nice little simple game. I like the sort of the mechanic of using paint. I quite like that.
So do you spit paint, or is it when you die that you produce the paint? I guess you can spit the paint. Let me see.
I'm just not seeing him spit paint, so I'm I'm trying to watch for it to see. It's like, did I miss where he's painting, or is he just jumping around?
You know what? I think the video only shows him. Doing
the
jumping.
Super Meat Boy thing.
Yeah. Where's an example of him throwing the paint?
Oh, it says platformer where most of the map is covered up and you have a limited number of splatters to reveal parts of the level. Not particularly challenging, but still fun. And considering how cheap it is, it's worth picking up.
Okay, interesting.
Okay. So I didn't see that in the. So what I think it's before you do the jumps, you probably start splattering, and then go like, oh, okay. So it's at the start of the level. You lay down the splats, and then you have to jump through it. Okay, that's an interesting idea. All right, but that is by EmCannon.
I think is it the last but one? There's one of the screenshots as it shows like your cursor. And then at the top it says splatters remaining.
Oh.
So yeah, that's how.
Okay, I see. That makes sense.
So yeah, 33% off right now, and it's 66 pence.
And it is developed by EmCannon. I'm going to go ahead and bring up their website and see if I can see anything else. But yeah, it's 33% off, and it's only 66 cents. And their website is actually not done, so no information there.
You just come to a GeoCities page. You're like, wait, we're getting a little too retro here.
Yep. So one game that I feel like really applies to Twitch streaming is Watch Me Stream My Mental Breakdown by Ultaan Games.
You know, I haven't seen anything about this, and I didn't look it up, but I saw it on the list, and I got really excited because of the name. I was like, this sounds great.
Yeah.
Story deck builder about playing games all day and proving your father wrong.
Yeah. So it's actually a card battler. So you end up building a deck of like situations and basically your life, and it the basic bases it around like a card game, but then there's a sort of story that goes along, and there seems to be branching narratives due to that. But yeah. And you're a panda. You're a panda with disappointed parents.
I would watch a panda on Twitch. I would definitely watch a panda. Cute.
I like the about. It says, have you ever wanted to get paid for playing games all day while internet money showers all over you? Are your friends and family poking fun at you for enjoying your favorite hobby? Say no more. Introducing 10 easy to follow steps to streaming stardom you've been looking for. Make your friends jealous by becoming a star streamer you deserve to be. Prove your father wrong. No effort required.
Oh, yep.
That's great.
Over 100 flavorful cards to strategize your channel growth and painfully realistic audience growth mechanics.
Just like at the end of the game, you have like 8 viewers. It's like, okay, cool, man.
Your mental health doesn't magically replenish itself from stream to stream, so think long term and keep it above 0.
Oh man.
Toxicity can drive fresh traffic, but you need to contain it if you want to build a loyal audience.
Oh my god.
That is accurate. Go for it.
I just love the title, Watch Me Stream My Mental Breakdown. It's like, ooh, unfortunately, like, I've had those awkward situations, like, this person's not having a good day. Why are they streaming? They should turn off.
Especially when they're those streamers that are like, I gotta keep up with the grind, man. It's like every day I stream 7 days a week, and then you just see them either bored or quiet, or also just like hating their life, and it's like, no, go. It's like, do 3 hours of entertaining content and not 24 hours of you not wanting to be with us.
And Ultaan is a small studio. They also made the game Nobunaga's Shadow, which looks like it's an RPG Maker game. So kudos to them for their...
Oh, making the transition, yeah.
And making the transition. So, I mean, there are some really good RPG Maker games out there, but they're the exception. Most of them, it's just like, that's a niche. I get why there's a community that wants to play those games. You know what? That's fine. I've played some of them that have been pretty good, that on the face don't look that great. But as a developer, like, being able to get to the point where you can make a lot of your own assets and really make the UI yours, that's what I like to see. So
yeah, and I've played with RPG Maker, and I did like click and play and like the game. What is it? Games Factory back in the day in like the 90s and 2000s, and like a lot of those little things, including RPG Maker, taught me things about scripting and if and or else all the different like functions you can do and stuff, and obviously like different codes or different languages, they all work differently, but if you can use that and utilize it to either make your entirely 100% own content in RPG Maker, and you want to do that, then kudos. But ultimately, I think most people that use RPG Maker that move on to other things usually hit a point where they're like, okay, now I know enough. I'm going to go create this or something else in another engine and learn that entirely. So,
yeah. RPG Maker has created a lot of great devs that we've seen some of them. It was like, oh, they made an RPG Maker game, and then the next game, it's like, oh, look at that.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. And it seems like these people do this too, so it's like kind of cool to see that transition.
This is £15.49, which is a bit on the pricier side. And so far I've seen people with like 2 to 6 hours. So
yeah, $19.99 US, a bit steep in the indie game market. So it is, especially on Steam, and it's mostly just the market on Steam. It's like there's a Steam sale, you can get a ton of games that are often under $5. So that's just the thing. I think they would have, if they just put the price just a bit lower, like maybe $12, they could have probably made some more sales.
Yeah.
All right. Our next title from Tuesday, January 19th is Jumpala.
Jumpala is a fast-paced action puzzler with heavy fighting game vibes. While the core mechanics are simple, each game is a test of skill and strategy as you try to outscore and outplay your opponents. Features both local and online play.
This is interesting. I'm trying to figure out the mechanic here of like the numbers on the platforms, but I do like the graphic style, and when it said it was influenced by fighting games, I'm like, I could definitely see them like kicking each other, knocking each other to different platforms. Like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so the numbers on the platforms are actually how many points they have. So if they color that platform with their color, they get those points when the platform gets destroyed. Or runs off the screen. So you're basically trying to get the most points, and then you have various skills that may help you do that. You can kick your enemy to stun them, which could possibly get them killed. But when you get killed, it's not the end of the game. Like, it's just you just lost. It's an opportunity loss. So yeah, it's just very, very interesting sort of competitive type game. I think I've seen single player types of this game, but they're really old. Like, this is like Famicom. I've seen games on Famicom that are kind of like this. So
it looks pretty effective.
Yeah, it's clever.
I like the art style and everything, and I like the character designs, and this looks great. And I like they got the everyone's got their special moves. That's nice.
Yep. This is developed by Yokereba Games, which is published by Versus Evil.
This is 10% off right now, and it's £6.74, and there's only 4 user reviews so far.
Yep, $8.99. They do have online PvP, so you can actually play online.
Matchmaking and stuff. That's interesting.
Mm.
Or I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's matchmaking. Maybe it's like play online with friends.
I don't necessarily see them mention matchmaking, but they do. There is online PvP, so you can you can at least get friends together to play against each other.
Oh, it said no friends go up against challenging CPUs, so you can fill it in with bots, I guess. That's pretty neat, though.
Yep. Alrighty. So, after Jumpala, we are on to Thursday, January 21st, with the game Persephone.
What if death isn't the end, but the key to solve puzzles? Where, when, and how will you choose to die in order to progress? Transport yourself to this magical world enriched with beautiful graphics and captivating music.
I've seen a game very similar to this, and and I just cannot. It's in the back of my head, and I was like, when I saw this on the release list, I was like, this concept's been done before. Not saying this is a ripoff at all. Of course, it's aesthetically very different, but I was just like, oh, okay, I've seen this idea before, where you basically run around, you die, and the consequence of your death lets you progress further, in a puzzle game, and I'm trying to remember what that game was.
I'm trying to remember what the Windows game was back when it was like Windows 95, and they had the game installed on the PCs, and you had the guy, and you had to like slide across the ice and aim things to get a key, but you know, anytime I'm trying to think of the name of it. You know what I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've played that game.
It's like puzzler, and you had to you would slide across the ice, and if you went the wrong way, you'd die and go back, and then you'd have to slide another way or push things, and it's like, I'll think of it. But anyway, that when I first saw it, I was like, that seems like kind of a similar concept, which I'm fine with, but it could definitely have been influenced by games like that, where it's like just kind of, you know, move things around and figure it out, like puzzlers, I guess. Is that a talent tree that I'm seeing? I see all symbols and stuff.
Yeah, it did look like a talent tree, and I'm just not sure what that is.
I like the art style, though. I really like isometric stuff. Mm-hmm. It brings me back to, like, you know, Final Fantasy Tactics and Super Mario RPG and like all those. I always just like that style.
And I just like the color palette. It's a nice pop of green, and you know, contrasted with the ancient buildings and everything like that. It looks just very well made. I love the way it looks.
So you're basically playing as the goddess Persephone, and you're going down to Hades to meet your beloved. So
yay!
Which in the original Greek story, it's a bit less pleasant than that, but you know they made it more PG.
It's Hades light.
Yeah.
And there's a free demo you can check out, and it's £5.79. Not enough user reviews, unfortunately. Again.
And this is developed by Momo-pi as their first game on Steam. Our next title is Phoenotopia.
Okay.
Awakening.
Embark on a grand adventure in Phoenotopia, an action-adventure puzzle platformer inspired by the great classics. Meet charming townsfolk, brave the dungeons, and thwart evil in your quest to save your family.
This was so an instant ad for me.
Oh my god.
It is super cute. I saw it and just...
is great.
Yeah!
I really like the character animation.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, when they're hugging and spinning around, it just looks so smooth. And then all the little idle animations are really smooth.
It's gorgeous as well. This is really well done.
Okay, real quick, sidebar. Just because of that game we saw a minute ago, Persephone, I was talking about the game on Windows 95. I found out what it is. It's Chip's Challenge.
Oh, yes!
The crazy part about it is that it is free on Steam. 90s kids remember. The original game is free on Steam. That is insane.
Oh, nice.
Oh
and that's nostalgia to the max. It's been like 30 years since that was a thing.
That's so cool.
Good to know.
But yeah, so Persephone, I like how you can almost figure out what the favorite color of different pixel artists are. Because like this one overall, I just get the idea of pink. Like no matter what environment, there's just a tone of pink there. Like whereas that earlier game Resolution, it's purple. Purple is their thing. So
it says, join Gale, a simple villager who must heed the call for adventure when a great starship appears in the night sky and abducts all the adults. As the new oldest member of her fragmented community, she must set out to solve the great mystery. Little does she know of the grand adventure before her, the evil lurking in the shadows, and the role she will play in the fight for Earth's very existence. So it's it's narrative driven, and there's 10 different weapons and tools. Fly with rocket boots, blast with bombs, play the flute, and fight against over 50 different enemy types and 12 boss encounters.
I mean, that's a lot. It looks like they put a lot of time into this. It's an estimated 30 hours playtime, too.
And 50 hours for completionists.
Yeah, that's a pretty bold number for a game like this, which is... I mean, they say that's estimated, so I don't know if that's the true, because it depends on the gamer, really.
Yeah.
But I like the style. I like that screen right there where it shows kind of the different tools and almost like the Link to the Past's inventory screen. I love the animations of the characters in the background and stuff. I can clearly see there's like an overhead map. I would probably have a lot of fun with this one, and I'm probably gonna have to buy this because it looks great.
Yeah, this is heavily influenced by, I think, combination of Link and, interestingly enough, a little bit of Kirby. I feel like with some of the attack mechanics.
And they use the parallax backgrounds.
Yes, parallax backgrounds.
It's so good. It just makes it so much more full and fulfilling. It's like it makes it look like it's a lively place and not just two little houses on a gray platform, like a lot of games end up being.
Yeah, this is 10% off right now, and it's at £13.49. And it's standing at 82% positive with 64 user reviews.
Yep. Normally it's just a penny shy of $20, but it is $17.99 with 10% off right now.
Nice.
All right. Our next title is Ocean's Heart.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fishing.
You
can
just
fish.
Noticed that. I was like, this is hitting the Stardew in me, going, oh my god.
Sometimes you just want to fish.
Sometimes it's just a thing it's kind of relaxing, and you're like, oh, let me see if I can do this. This is cool. Anyway.
Right. Ocean's Heart.
Ocean's Heart is an epic top-down action RPG in which you explore a beautiful archipelago as a young woman named Tilia. Take on contracts to fight monsters, descend deep into ancient dungeons, defeat menacing foes, and unravel the mystery of Ocean's Heart. All done in beautiful, bright pixel art.
Speaking of, inspired by Zelda, this one's
this is pretty heavy.
Almost a reskin.
I was going to say, oh my god, yeah, even the sword swipe and the ball and chain going around, it almost feels like they definitely kind of side-by-sided it when they animated it, which is fine by me because I'm a huge fan of Legend of Zelda, but definitely something that you kind of have to own, I don't know if they did, but sometimes when you do that, you have to be absolutely inspired by this game,
Yeah, I think this is clearly made by someone who wants the old style of Zelda games back, but they're not. But it's not happening. So they very much went yep, I'm just. If you're not going to make the Zelda game I want, I'm going to make it myself. So
that's what it is. Yeah. It's like I want this back. I need this game in my life, so I'm just going to make it.
Yep. It's.
I'm seeing. It's got the controls aren't that great, but maybe.
Oh, in the reviews.
Yeah. Well, in a couple of the reviews actually. So, but maybe the dev will patch that.
Yep.
Yep. It's £13.49, and it's at 74% positive with 59 user reviews.
Yeah, one of their featured reviews on the great pantheon of top-down 2D Zelda alikes. Yeah, Zelda alikes. That's what I would describe it as.
Look at the art. right there on the new and in-depth interview like blog post. It's like Lady Link.
Yeah, it is Lady Link. Oh, this looks fun. For any of those, unfortunately, little thing, I've never played a Zelda game.
Oh my goodness.
That is one franchise I've just never been able to play. So it's something I do need to jump in eventually. It's just
everyone's going to recommend Ocarina of Time, and I can agree that it's a fantastic game, but I would highly recommend Link to the Past on this.
Link to the Past. I've also had recommendations for Wind Waker.
Wind Waker's great too. Yeah, those are all good ones. But I think for me, if I was to recommend anybody to play it, it would be to kind of start, and you get to see kind of the evolution of it. But yeah, Ocarina of Time to me wouldn't have been as strong to me if I hadn't played Link to the Past, in my opinion. That's just my own personal anecdotal evidence of that, but you know.
Yep. Ocean's Heart is developed by Max Mraz, and it is his first game on Steam. So, all right.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Taking a genre and a game that he obviously got heavily influenced by, and he did it.
Yeah, he went and like, yep, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make my own Zelda with blackjack and hookers. Well, probably not blackjack and hookers, but it's but yeah, he definitely went and made
go rate it bad
the game he
like,
wanted to play.
Dewey Bear said this game had blackjack and hookers,
and it doesn't. So disappointed. Right. Our next title is SuchArt Creative Space.
Paint on any surfaces with numerous tools in creative space. A free sandbox. Excuse me.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Recently, I took a DNA test that tells me.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's all right. Free sandbox, SuchArt, Genius Artist Simulator. Create your masterpieces, complete commissions, and decorate your studio in the most advanced artist sim. So this one caught my eye because it's just you can just like there's so many different tools and this sort of 3D. Is it VR? No, it doesn't say that it's VR space, but it's just a 3D environment where you can just draw with all the different sort of tools, make furniture, and color it the way you want. It's just super creative, and it's like, oh, that's really neat. Are you okay?
I was gonna say, are you good?
Okay now. Oh my god.
It kind of feels like a house flipper, but the opposite of cleaning the house. You're just you get to paint all over it, or paint on canvas, or do stuff. I kind of dig it. It's pretty neat.
I just want, can you export the art files?
Oh yeah, that would be interesting.
That's my first question. Is like, because if I make something really nice in this, I don't.
What if you just like were developing a video game and you were making your assets in this and exporting them into your own game? That would be next level like meta.
Yeah, that would be pretty.
That'd be intense.
Wow.
Yeah, I quite like this idea, especially if you are like very artsy as well.
Oh yeah,
it's just something like another kind of tool to sort of play around with and everything. And yeah, no, it's really nice. I would love to see some of the creations that have been made.
My niece is about to be 10 years old, and I don't know if a 10-year-old really plays 3D games well. But when I watch this, I feel like with her creativity and wanting to just color all over the walls, but she's not allowed to. It's like this, hey, you can do that now. Here you go. So I guess if it ever comes out on like Nintendo Switch, or if she ever gets a PC, I'll be like, hey, check this out.
Yeah. I really hope there's a way to export the art. But yeah, this looks like something I could even get into, because I've had a few artist stints happen before. I used to do character study sketches when I would ride the ferry to work every day, because I'm there for an hour, and so I just have my pencil and pen and just like anonymously draw someone without them noticing. So
this says this isn't the full game then?
It's free to play.
The full game's coming out like later, and it says in quarter.
Oh, look at that! Way down there. Yeah, this one isn't released then. This is just a demo then. Oh darn it.
Got it.
So mean, getting us all excited.
Oh, I didn't realize this was just a demo.
Excuse me.
Oh, no. Okay. But it's a demo. All right. So we just let you know that a game coming out later is SuchArt Creative Space. All right. I have to scroll down to see that. Our next title is Rain City by Big Pineapple. Nope, that is the wrong one. There we go.
Rain City is a point-and-click adventure. The player is taking the role of a cat who comes to the Rain City, where it rains all year round, to find his missing sister. During the journey, the player will meet different people and witness various bizarre stories.
I love this art style.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's really good. It looks like it's all hand drawn, and that hits me in a spot, like especially when it's just like kind of children's book, you know, almost like choose your own adventure stuff. Like that's pretty neat.
It looks a bit like Machinarium.
Yes, that's a good comparison.
Sorry, that's a toy. but I did like Machinarium, but I didn't like the kind of the puzzles that went with it. They were kind of just logic puzzles, and it was just, or it's kind of like, it's almost like a mini game.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of like more sort of like the inventory kind of those kind of puzzles, unless you do it you forego the inventory and you do it in a different way, in a better way. There are certain ways that point-and-click developers have done it, and it's sometimes a lot more satisfying. So it depends. But yeah, I don't like the kind of mini games constantly sort of thing. It's
I get what you're saying, especially with like the inventory stuff too. It's more like, I mean, I'm a big fan of, this isn't an indie game obviously, but I'm a big fan of like the Resident Evil style of games where you kind of traverse through the mansions and have to find different keys and like you like carry all this stuff. It's like, well, where does this go? What statue does this gym go in? And it's like point and clicks and indie games and all that kind of are the same way for me. I also really like Metroidvanias. They're really good.
One English review for Rain City mentions that the game is about 3 hours long. So
nice. Yes,
it's on sale now too.
Puzzle logic and interface. Yeah, there's some problems with puzzle logic. So
Merlin is into these games, and she's kind of talking in the chat. But it's on sale. I would say that looks like a pretty good one for a point and click like run around game. I don't know if it has an inventory or like what systems it has in it, but I do love the art style.
I think it's the same company or publisher that did Mr. Pumpkin and Mr. Pumpkin 2.
Oh, which Cotton Cane? Oh yeah.
Yeah, very similar art style and
yeah, the rain makes me really homesick. But yeah, it looks really cute. And this, I didn't even realize this is the last game of the week.
It is?
Wow. Rain City by Big Pineapple. Yep.
And it's £2 and 8 pence. So,
yep, $2.87.
On my wish list, yeah.
Yep, it just has that nice cozy feeling to it. I like it. But yeah, it did go by fast. Well, part of it was this week, there really weren't a lot of games that came out this week.
Right.
It was a pretty sparse week.
A slow one, but it's quite nice for us, like, doing catch-ups.
Yeah, it was good. The catch-ups are good.
Nice. So, the next question, of course, that we get to agonize over is Best of the Week. Who's ready for that?
Let's do it. Are we just talking about the games we just discussed?
Yeah, the games we just discussed. Which game on the list? Now you can draw from the Catchup, the current week's release list. Wow, I can't talk. Or both. So just what games most stood out to you this week?
I think for me it would be the Phoenotopia Awakening. I think it was what it was, the one with the pink-haired person. That's a game I'm like.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a lot of good games. Like the Resolution thing was good too, but I think that this one stood out as like the one that I would probably spend $20 on if I could. I don't know how much it was. I don't recall, but it's
$17.99. Yeah.
Hey, there you go. it looks so polished and amazing, and like just like everything in the game is living, and that's awesome. I just love it's almost like Legend of Zelda 2 on NES, where it's like you're walking through the village and talking to people, and the overhead map, but all of the things I saw in it look great. You can fish, you can do puzzles, you can slingshot things. It seems like a game I would probably get lost in for a couple hours.
Fishing really sold you, didn't it?
Well, that was one of the things that, like, to me, it's more about the fact that the developer took the time to go off and do a side project while he's developing this game, or while they're developing this game, to insert this thing. It's like, I want to insert this little mini game or this little activity you can do. The same way you might play GTA 4 and realize you can shoot pool and then end up doing that for an hour. You know what I mean? You get sidetracked, and it's just, they don't need to put this in the game, but they did. And to me, especially on an indie developer level, the fact that they took the time to do that, it means a lot to me as the gamer. I want to explore and be like, ooh, can I interact with this? Oh my god, I can. Like Stardew Valley, you can play the arcade games in the bar, and I'm like, oh my god, there's achievements for this. Like, of course I'm gonna do this. And so I like little knickknacks like that, and it's just one of the many reasons that a game like this, it seems like it's so good. I feel attacked.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so cool that it just lets you just it shows a degree of care when developers do that. So yeah, oh my word, this looks great.
It just looks really well polished, and I think that you can tell that even if they finished the game, they probably went back and, you know, added things and added backgrounds and like probably polished up all the graphics, and it looks like they definitely did the work, the overlay stuff you kind of have to do.
All right, Rhodey, what about you? What was your game of the week?
So I'm gonna go for one in the catch-up and one in the recent release list. I'm gonna go for Depanneur Nocturne. I probably haven't pronounced that very well, but yeah, I like the idea of like rummaging for a gift for your loved one, but it's and money is no object. That's quite nice. But yeah, just like fully exploring something, and you know, and the graphics were so nice, and I'm also curious about the whole thing, because it seems also a bit trippy as well. So yeah, I do like my hidden object games. I do like the thing if they've put you can touch everything and you pick up something and, you know, examine it, and like from point and click as well. So yeah, it reminds me of those kind of games, and yeah, that's ticks a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah.
And the second one, I have to go with Rain City. It's not the perfect point and click game for me, but it's definitely caught my interest, and I will. It's going on my wish list. So, and it's I'm very curious about the story, and I do like the characters and the whole design of it. It's just so there's a cuteness to it as well, which I quite like.
Well, for me, from the backlog, I would say the game of the week was Wildfire. Just fantastic looking game that I'm really hoping to pick up soon. But when I have time for my other roguelikes. But this puzzle platformer I'm really interested in. I'm curious how much like a Metroidvania it's going to be like, because the one thing with Metroidvanias, I like them, but I never finish them.
Yeah.
So
sometimes they get tedious, especially if you're like looping back over the same areas like 10 times, and you're like, okay, this is, you know, you did this to kind of elongate the game time sometimes.
Especially if they involve like pixel hunting. Like you only would be able to advance if you notice this one shiny pixel, this one part of the map that opens a secret room that gives you the key to it all. I hate those. And as far as this week's release, I'm on the same ground as Chris. It's Phoenotopia. That one's on my wish list. I really like that one. So yeah, those are our best of the week.
Yay!
And of course, the chat let us know what games you most liked out of this week. And your kids want to play literally all the games we showed. Well, that's good. That's good. Also, now I'm thinking like, did I swear at all? Like, there's kids watching us. Yeah, I don't think I swear. All right. So, but yeah. So with that, it's time for shamelessly plug. And Chris, you've got some shameless plugging to do.
I do. So obviously I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/sirClever. I haven't streamed in a while, but I'm coming back in February. That's the plan anyway, with a lot of new stuff. But I've been pretty much spending a lot of my time with my best friend Max, making fun of movies and doing these movie commentaries on cleverriffs.com. We do have like a Patreon if you want to support monetarily and you do like our stuff. But ultimately, it's free to just go to youtube.com/cleverriffs. And you can watch basically bite-sized 10 to 15-minute versions of these commentaries of us just like talking through movies. I'd recommend, at least if it's a movie you like we did Starship Troopers, we're about to do Gremlins, like things like that. You can watch those. I would say get a lot of the trivia from it, but also a lot of our jokes. You'll probably get, but sometimes we'll do bad movies. Like there was a horror movie called Truth or Dare that aired on Sci-Fi that was just absolutely horrible. And we had such a blast making fun of it through the whole thing. We did a lot of edits and quick cuts and just things and made those jokes into, basically just polished them until they were pristine on YouTube. So we're just basically promoting the YouTube channel and trying to get subscribers there.
Was it so bad it's good, or was it just bad?
I think it was kind of in between. Like there were moments that were so bad it's good, but for the most part it was kind of boring. But ultimately what it came down to was we make it good with our commentary, because even watching back, with friends or whatever, everyone seems to laugh at the things we say and the things we do. We kind of break the rules in the horror movie, genre, that you're supposed to kind of set up the rules about what happens, and it's just silly stuff like, a Truth or Dare game that follows them around, and all of a sudden, like, a gun manipulate or comes out of midair under his sheets, and then he picks it up, and it's like a sign comes down from the ceiling, and it's like rob a liquor store, and it's like, what is creating these things? This is not scary. It's just super silly. So we just have a lot of fun with it, honestly, and it's just another creative venture. Pretty good time. So I'd highly recommend it if you just have 10 or 15 minutes on a work break and you just really want to laugh. I promise you, every single video on that channel we've polished to be as funny as it could possibly be. So
that's pretty cool. Just kind of take something that you do anyway, like talk about movies Absolutely. With a friend, and that's the best kind of entertainment.
I mean, to be fair, I love films, and I'm a big film addict. I go to the movies all the time. Well, not now, obviously, but I used to. But I don't typically talk through movies when I watch them the first time through. But if we find something extra bad, or if we find something that someone recommends on Reddit, there's a movie called Santa Jaws on Netflix that I was looking at the other day, and I was like, I kind of want to watch this because it's a shark. I don't really know what it is. It's the cover has a shark with like a Santa hat on it, and I'm like, I have to like watch this with Max and just see how our commentary is over it, because it could be hilarious. So we sometimes will watch a movie so you don't have to, and that's kind of the idea.
Bad movies with good company is a great combination.
It's awesome, yeah. And we do good movies too. Like I said, we love Starship Troopers. It's one of our favorites. Mm-hmm. It's definitely one of Max's favorites, and you can tell his excitement and his enthusiasm through the YouTube video, and that almost like gets you excited as the viewer, because you hear kind of his, how he, oh man, I remember when I first saw this and this and whatever, and it's just kind of interesting. So it's almost like our version of a podcast, I guess. Yeah. Just a good time. But yeah, that's all I got. That's my plug.
Alrighty. And of course, remember to check out sirClever on Twitch when he gets back to streaming, which is, I hear, maybe soon.
Yeah, it should be in a few weeks.
Cool,
coming up in February. I'm still editing the last few things, but I'm coming back.
Yep. And Rhodey, what about you?
You can find me on Twitch TV/RolliPop, and I will be playing some adventure games, trying to get through my Steam list. Oh dear.
You'll get there.
And I am, of course, the host, Dewey Bear. We will be back next week as well. As far as like non-streams, I am taking this year to. I hope to get back to regular streaming again soon, but I'm taking this year to try to be faithful to many other parts of my life and make sure I'm getting those done. For example, I've gotten back into writing, which I'm really excited about. Which, I'm just incapable of writing if I'm not comfortable. And now that I'm finally settled in my new apartment, I'm comfortable enough to write. So I'm getting back to that.
Yeah.
You have to take that moment if it comes and just use it. You can't ignore it, because that's the best time when you get inspiration to do something.
And so now it's like the first free hour I have every day, that's what I do. I write for 1 hour. It's been great. So yeah, I'm glad to be getting back to that. Of course, we'll be back next week with a returning co-host, Top Gun Bunny. So yeah, everyone loves him. And with that, thank you for everyone on Twitch and YouTube. Farewell. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Really terrible at this heart thing. Bye-bye. And cut.